What's going on, everyone? NBA Christmas is officially here. In a couple hours from the time of recording this video, we will be in free agency, and Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers can start exploring, signing, negotiating, all of that fun stuff. Look, stuff happens behind the scenes all the time, even ahead of time. I mean, we've already seen all the trades that have gotten done that won't be official till later on, but the official day of free agency begins today, and I cannot be more excited. I cannot be more pumped. I'm sure many of you are as well. I'm curious to see who do the Lakers sign today. Does this kind of get dragged out? Do they get everybody all in kind of one swoop and just boom, 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 boom? We get a bunch of news today, so stay tuned. We're going to cover all of it. We're going to talk about all of it, whatever it unfolds, and then the continuation throughout the course of this season, or of course the off season. But Rob Pelinka, I trust, is in the lab right now cooking us up some fire. I expect the core guys to stay, be intact. Don't be shocked if like Austin Reeves and Rui and guys don't get signed right away. Rui might, but just for cap reasons, Austin Reeves is probably going to be last if they can. Because he only has like a $2.2 million cap hold. So they want to deal with him last. So very likely they'll sign the mid-level guy and then, kind of just fill in the edges from around there. But I do believe our core guys will be there. Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, D'Lo, I believe will be back unless they find something crazy or, a Kyrie comes or something along those lines. But realistically, I expect the core group to be back. And then from there, we've heard, Bruce Brown as a possible player at the mid-level exception. We've heard Brook Lopez as a possible player at the mid-level exception. It just comes down to who actually wants to come to Lakers. What is the bigger need? In my opinion, I think Brook Lopez is the biggest need. If you can get Brook Lopez for that mid-level exception, you do that immediately. No questions asked, no thought about it. Here you go. Here's the deal. And there are rumors that have gone around that, hey, that's a real possibility that he would sign a 2-year, $24 million deal. If the Lakers can pull that off and make that happen, chef kiss. Bruce Brown, I wouldn't mind it. I don't hate it. I just kind of feel like he's more of the same, I guess. I guess it depends on where you have him on the scale compared to the other players we have. But he's a great defender, don't get me wrong. Excellent at creating his own shot and getting to the basket. He's not a great three-point shooter, though, right? So he's kind of like an upgraded version of Dennis Schroeder, right? Where Dennis Schroeder wasn't really a good shooter, but point-of-attack defender, quality defender, a guy that can get to the rim, finish at the rim. It's kind of like what he is. I think that he can do a little more. I'm not saying that they are the exact same player, but again, it's just like, would you rather give him $12 million and that's your big signing, or would you rather just bring Dennis Schroeder back at hopefully a vet minimum or something like that, and then go get Brook Lopez or go break down the taxpayer mid-level, the full mid-level, and get 2 or 3 guys, right? Could you get a Kelly Oubre and Seth Curry? I would rather have that, in my opinion, than Bruce Brown, right? Because I think you get some shooting, much needed shooting, and you get a more sizable 3-and-D wing that can defend. Not a great shooter again, but he's still a guy that if you're getting him for like $5 million, that's a steal, right? I think it just depends on who's out there, what's available, and what the Lakers can realistically acquire. Lakers definitely need a center. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be Brook Lopez. I think that's at the top of the list, or one of the things at the top of the list as far as free agency goes. And so if you can get Brook, perfect. If not, then I wouldn't mind even like a Mason Plumlee, right? Go get him. I think he's a guy that could start, come off the bench, do whatever. Really kind of just be that physical, aggressive guy. Even if you get Brook Lopez, right? Like let's say, best case scenario, Lakers go, they land Brook Lopez today. That would be perfect. I would not be upset whatsoever if we get news back to back of like the Lakers also sign Mason Plumlee, I would be like perfect because one, Anthony Davis is going to miss 30 plus games. You know that. Two, Mason Plumlee is a guy that can be your backup center, get some minutes. With Brooks shooting, you could even move him to the 4 and kind of go that route. Anthony Davis, you could play Miles Plumlee next to Anthony Davis as well. I wouldn't mind that at all. And plus, the inevitable Denver matchup, right? It wouldn't hurt to have Brook Lopez, Anthony Davis. If you bring in Colin Castleton, throw him at him, and then Mason Plumlee. Now you have all these bodies to just throw at him and just wear him down over the course of a 7-game series. That's how the Lakers beat them in 2020, right? They just JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, Anthony Davis, right? Like just keep throwing bodies and just slow him, get him tired, worn down. But there's not a lot of like marquee free agents, like a bunch of like really good, like, man, like this free agency class is amazing. No, it's kind of a little top heavy. There's like a handful of guys that are really good and that would be awesome to have. And then after that, it's just kind of like which guy could help you the best at the vet minimum, right? There might be a couple guys that get a little overpaid just because, it's slim pickings, right? But also with the new CBA, how many people actually are willing to overpay? And we'll also see what Rob Pelinka does with our guys, right? Austin Reeves, again, I expect him to be signed last. I think the Lakers will do everything that they're going to do, and then they'll sign him, ideally, unless somebody throws a max contract at him. And then the Lakers have like 48 hours or whatever it is to match that. And I think that that's a big reason why we've seen a lot of reports that have come out of like the Lakers are going to match whatever it is for Austin Reeves. So there's no point. Don't even try to make it a contract offer because you're just going to waste your time. Lakers are going to match Austin Reeves for whatever it is. That's the hope, is that a team doesn't come in today and say, oh, we're going to throw Austin Reeves a max immediately, and now we got to scramble and match that, which could really hurt us. Because, again, in a perfect world, you sign Rui for like $15 million a year, you sign D'Lo for like $18 to $20 million a year, and then you use your mid-level exception, you use your biannual exception, you do everything that you're going to do, get all your free agents, and then boom, give Austin Reeves his max money, which this year would only be like $12.5 million, something like that. Perfect. There you go. And now our free agency is done, off and running, and now we can start focusing on preseason, training camp, all of that stuff, just kind of building that chemistry as we move into trying to win an NBA championship. And then see what guys work, see what guys don't, and then if you have to, adjust accordingly at the trade deadline. That would be the ideal scenario. But I fully expect Reeves especially, more than anybody. I think Reeves is about as close to a lock as possible. There are concerns, there are questions about the just overpaying for Reeves. Because, again, the problem, and I've talked about this a bunch, so I'm not going to go into it too heavy, but there is the concern of, like, if you give him a max contract, he gets a poison pill contract, that means his last 2 years are going to be huge. Does that really hurt you with the new CBA? How much does that affect the Lakers? Something to keep in mind, because he's not a $30 million a year player, but that's what he's basically going to be making in those last 2 years. So do the Lakers end up moving off of him sooner, right? Do we get only a year, maybe 2 left of Austin Reeves, and then they move him before that payment balloons? That could be a possibility. But regardless, that's something that the Lakers will deal with later on down the line. D'Lo, I'm confident D'Lo will be back unless something crazy happens, right? Same thing with Rui Hachimura. I think unless some team just ridiculously overpays for Rui Hachimura, which I don't think anybody will, simply on the fact that teams just can't afford to anymore with the new CBA. So I expect Rui to just get fair value of what he is. I think he signs a 4-year, $60 million deal or something like that. That's probably my guess. Or it'd be 3 years, what about Harrison Barnes signed? 3 years, $54 million. I could see something along those lines. I think that that's a real possibility, which comes out to like, what, 16.5 million, something like that, over the course of the 3 years. I could see Rui getting something along those lines. D'Lo, I think, will be back unless Kyrie comes. That's the only real way I see D'Lo not on this Lakers team. If Kyrie, like if Dallas, because he's taking meetings, he's taking free agencies, and look, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not, but it is a possibility, right? He's going, he's taking all these meetings. Dallas wants him, wants to keep him, but if they don't offer him a max or close to it, if they're like, hey Kyrie, we'll give you, 2 years, $40 million. Does Kyrie just say, like, I could go get $17 million and play for the Lakers and play on a team that definitely is a contender? We heard the reports. Kyrie just wants a place that he can call home. Well, what better place to call home than LA? Got your buddy LeBron there. You're going to get all kinds of brand deals and endorsements and all kinds of stuff. Again, not saying it happens. It's just something to keep in mind. It's just something in passing. That's the only real way I see D'Lo not returning. Is if Kyrie's like, I'll take the $17 million, right? Let's go try to win a chip, and then when I bring you guys a chip, you guys pay me fat. That's probably how this goes. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. You excited? You're not? Who do you want to see on the Lakers this year? Who do you not? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know.